calling this the May 7th, 2015 regular meeting to order of the Coffee County Board of Education. I'd like to introduce the ROTC cadets, Lieutenant Dontavia Shepard and Ensign Maria Hall, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right face, present arms. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order, arms. Right face, forward, march.
Tonight, it's our pleasure to have Pastor Shep Johnson from First Baptist Church here to do the invocation.
Let us pray together. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight, and I was thinking earlier today how often I ask you for things. How often I ask you for help for those who need it, and how often I'm asking for this and that. Many of them good requests, but Lord, how rarely it seems that I pause to give you thanks. Tonight, Lord, I thank you for our nation. I thank you for those who serve our nation. I thank you for those who are in places of leadership and those in our military. I thank you for those elected to public office. I thank you for this board. I thank you for the teachers tonight, for the students, for their parents. I thank you for our coaches. I thank you for the administration. I thank you for all that have a role in leading our community in the area of education. And I thank you for the human mind and what it's capable of. And I thank you for the wonderful thing that happens when teacher engages student and learning is done. Lord, we have so much to be thankful for. We marvel at your creation. And we marvel that you give us the opportunity and the ability to discover new things about your creation each and every day. Lord, I know graduation is soon approaching. I pray for those of our students who will be graduating and moving on, Father, in career or perhaps in the military or in college. I pray your blessing upon them. I pray that you direct them, and pray, Lord, that you bring blessing into their lives. Finally, Father, for this board tonight, I pray a special measure of your wisdom and insight as they seek to lead our school system. May they do so in a way that benefits our community, especially our students, and brings glory and honor to you. Thank you again for hearing our prayer. I offer it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Has everyone had a chance to look over the agenda? Get a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Discussion.
Any discussion?
Yeah, we're gonna add the habitudes.
Okay. Are we,
It's on the electronic. It's not on.
It's on
It's
the
number 9.
Number 9.
We're gonna move to
we
number
didn't
9.
discuss that.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Is that all? Yes, ma'am. At this time, we'll welcome everyone here, and as we work through our meeting tonight, let's keep in mind our mission of destination graduation for college, career, and life, and our vision of an equitable and an excellent education for every student in Coffee County. So thank you for being here. We've got a large crowd. Thank you for those who are here supporting our teachers and students. So we'll carry on with our meeting. At this time, we will have our special recognition STEM teachers. Coffee Middle School.
Good evening. It's an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to share the outstanding work of my sixth grade science team. The members of this team include Ms. Summer Johnson, Mr. Ben Daniels, Ms. Sheena Lyles, Ms. Lydia Davis, and Ms. Erica Sanchez. On May the 4th, this special group of teachers received and were recognized by the state superintendent, Mr. Richard Woods. They are now STEM scholars, the highest honor given in the state of Georgia for completing the STEM Academy. Watching these creative and innovative teachers complete the STEM Academy is an achievement that is to be commended and celebrated. This accomplishment brings Coffee Middle School one step closer to becoming a STEM certified school. So tonight, I say thank you for your hard work. Thank you for your accomplishments. I also want to thank Sherry Berry and thank her for igniting the passion for this initiative to earn their STEM scholarship from the Science Teacher Academy.
Thank you. And I have here certificates, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, certificate of completion for Logistics Sim Academy, and this is awarded to Ben Daniels. And Erica Sanchez. Summer Johnson. Lydia Davis. And Sheena Lyles. Let's give another round of applause. And for those who may be wondering, STEM is an initiative nationwide dealing with science, technology, engineering, and math. There's a focus nationwide where we've recognized that we have a shortage of young people who are specializing and who are well educated in those areas. And for the workforce of tomorrow, it's certainly going to take a focus on technology and engineering and math. So we appreciate what our teachers are doing. At this time, Ms. Hodge is going to present our Teachers of the Year.
Thank you, Dr. Lees. It is very fitting, especially this week, to be able to recognize our Teachers of the Year since it is Teacher Appreciation Week. So it's our honor to recognize 13 distinguished educators who have been selected by their schools to represent them as their school's Teacher of the Year. We're honoring them for their contributions to education and just appreciate you all for being here to support them. We know that it takes the whole family to support an educator, so we appreciate family members being here, parents, etc. So when I call your name, if you will come forward, we have a certificate for you and a small trophy, and I know that Chairman Worrell and the members of the board, as well as Dr. Lees, will want to shake your hand. If you will stay standing up here and just move down to the end as we call your name. From Ambrose Elementary School, Nicole Perkins. Family members, if you will stand, we appreciate you all being here, and if you have anyone here with you tonight, congratulations to you all. From Broxton Elementary School, Kanya Watkins. Stand as well with Miss Kanya Watkins. Congratulations. Congratulations, Kanya. From East Side, Jill Griffiths. From Indian Creek Elementary, Kim Spain. Congratulations. From Nichols, Lori Bratcher is the principal. Brooke Merritt, Brooke. Congratulations, Brooke. From Satilla, Kim Tatum. Congratulations. From West Green, Teresa Dedman. From West Side Elementary School, Catherine Woodard. Should I say Catherine Cottingham Woodard? Proud family here. From Coffee Middle School, Rachel Pace. From Freshman Campus, Janet Bales. From Coffee High School, Shelley Doyle. From Coffee County Career Academy, Mr. Josh Gold. And last but not least, from the alternative school, Queen MacIver. Thank you all so very much for all you do, for your dedication, the many hours you put in to work with our boys and girls, and for having a loving and compassionate heart to work with children. We appreciate all you do, and you represent your school very, very well. Thank you for everything. We need to get one more picture.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, family members, for coming.
Bella? Bella, how is this? Hey, Dana. Ronnie, how you doing? Good. I ask about you every once in a while. What? I ask about you every once in a while. Good.
We'll get there, won't we?
And at this time, we'll have our principal's annual report, and we're fortunate to have with us tonight Dr. James Banks, who will be presenting his report on George Washington Carver Freshman Campus. So Dr. Banks, you have the floor.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm happy to be here tonight on behalf of Dr. Lease and the Board of Education, all stakeholders in Coffee County, and also the one right there at 1020 South Gaston Avenue, all the teachers that I'm affiliated with as their leader. I bring you greetings from George Washington Carver Freshman Campus. As you see every morning as I take my walk to my office, I can be reminded by those banners there that tells us our purpose, our mission, destination graduation for college, career, and life, and also in the afternoons, the ones that are leaving the campus, they can see it from the backside, destination graduation for college, career, and life. So I'm very happy to be here on behalf of my staff, and also to show that we are doing some great things at the freshman campus. Can you go to the next slide? You have to put it.
Is it up there?
One thing that we are graded upon every year as far as the results from the school year, we look at the platform, the communication platform for Georgia schools, and that's the College Career Readiness Performance Index. You look at the breakdown of how we're scored every year. You have achievement points, progress points, achievement gap points, and challenge points, as well as exceeding the bar points. And I think that one of the things that we talked about at the work session that could give us a point would be habitudes for this upcoming year. This past year, our score, was 77.6. The previous year we had about 72.6, and I guess the first year of 2012 we had about 84.7. So we were up, down, and now we're going back up again. So I'm curious to see how it's going to pan out for this coming year. I anticipate that we're going to have great things that's still going to be a continuance from our school within our curriculum that we have. We have teachers working diligently, and I think that's a universal thing throughout our whole community in all schools in Coffee County, from elementary, well, I like to say from Head Start on up to 12th grade. So this week right here, we started the Georgia Milestones, which is the new inner course test for 9th graders, and we have those 3 subjects there in which we test with the Georgia Milestones. Basically, every other course that we have is we have a pre-test and a post-test with SLOs, or student learning objectives. But Lit Comp 9, physical science, and algebra are the courses that we'll giving Georgia Milestones on this week and all of next week. So at the end of the semester, we look at the semester average and the inner course scores, which count 20% of the student semester average. So sometimes if they bomb the EOC, then they still have a great chance of passing the course if they have a high enough average from the first 9 weeks, the second 9 weeks combined for the semester average. Since this is the second semester, you would have people say, well, it's the third 9 weeks and the fourth 9 weeks. So we're doing good things, and I'll show you with my last slide what I mean by we're doing good things. If you look at the data for the last 6 years, we started the freshman campus in 07-08 school year. This is our 8th year having it as a separate entity with only 9th graders at that particular school. And I would say that, I'll go on a limb and say this, the graduation rate should have been altered by now at Coffee High School. And when I get to my last slide, I'll tell you why the graduation rate should have been altered. You see the year 2013-14, last year, we had some of the highest scores. And keep in mind, when you look at the data from the freshman campus, we only get that group of students for 1 year, then they go on to Coffee High School. So we have a different group of students that's coming through every year. And we based our trends on what we have perceived from coming up from the middle school and then when they go on to Coffee High School. And that's the ELA results right there. So we're above the state with meets and proceeds on standardized testing. Thank you. With science, we have basically the same trend for the last 6 years. Last year's group was a unique group where they scored 91% on meets and exceeds with the science EOCT of last year. So those trends from the year 2008 to 9 on up to now, we have seen some noticeable gains. The alarm rate that I have will be the next slide. If you go on to that, is when we talk about mathematics. Within the whole state of Georgia, there are some concerns with mathematics. We're changing the curriculum year in and year out, trying to find the right match for teaching kids the curriculum as far as the math curriculum is concerned. I have some concerns about it, and I think that with the movements that we're going to make in the upcoming years, it should get better. Always be reminded that the basis that we teach students now upon mathematics, when they get to post-secondary, it goes back to normally a traditional format. So what we're teaching now, it might not be equated with what they're doing at the post-secondary levels. As far as academic supports, if you look at structured tutoring hours, we have tutoring during 0 block, which is before school, and we also have a 5th block of the day, which is after school, where we have tutoring hours where students can go talk to their teacher or get with their teacher, or get with a teacher on that same department that will give them some after-school help or before-school help. We also have advisement every Tuesday, what we call a Trojan block. We have 4 blocks of RE 180 courses: math support, credit repair, credit recovery, response to intervention. And this year, for the Scribe and Readers Grant requirements, we implemented a silent sustained reading program. And also next year, we will have a new type of algebra, mostly probably along the lines of remediation type algebra, but it will be a new Foundations of Algebra course that's going to be offered at the freshman campus. Once again, with advisement, Trojan block, we have that every Tuesday for 30 minutes at the conclusion of first block, going in the second block for 30 minutes. If you see the first topic that we have on the PowerPoint there is habitudes. We're hoping that we will get that program next year. That's to teach some of the kids some of the soft skills, knowing how to respond to people, have respect for your elders, respect for your teachers, respect for self. Look at time management, how you learn how to study. A lot of kids come to us, they really don't know how to balance their time. So time management is a big must. And perseverance. We have many people, when you get to the high school level, sometimes students, they want to quit at the least little thing. Sometimes they've got to learn in life that you can't have your way, and when you don't get your way, it's not time to give up. So that's part of the Trojan block curriculum that we'll have next year. We also have people come in from the community, guest speakers, to talk about their career and what they had to go through to get to where they're at currently. All right, and that's the last slide I have. I mean, it's short and sweet. I sent an email to Ms. Hodge today, and I had on there, as far as the subject, I had KISS. And I hope she didn't think I wanted to kiss her. But just keep it simple. Keep it simple. So I'm not trying to prolong the time. But if you look at some of the things I said about Coffee High School, as far as the graduation rate, look at the trend from 2010 up to now. The students that we get that come to us from Coffee Middle School, at the conclusion of the semester, at the conclusion of the year, we've graduated the last 3 years, 94 to 95% of those students that come to us within 1 and 2 semesters, first and second semester, they get 6 credits, they move on to Coffee High School. And some of them may go to the Career Academy, but we're graduating, we have done up to 96% of our students in a given year. So I'm saying the alteration to the graduation rate should increase significantly. And I think this year, you're probably going to find out that this year's class, when they were at freshman 2011, 2012, we promoted 94% of those students to 10th grade. So I'm anticipating that this year's class of seniors will hopefully be one of the highest rates of students graduating on time within the Coffee County school system. And I think that keeping, I will say this, I think that keeping the freshman students on an island where they're pretty much to themselves without being trickled in with 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, I think from what I have evaluated the last 8 years of being out there, I perceive it to be a great thing. So, You don't have to worry about some of the things as far as an 18-year-old dealing with a 14-year-old student. Those things are minimized. We can pretty much target any problem that we have within the curriculum or with social media. We can pretty much address it right there. So that's my presentation this year, and I look forward to doing it all again next year. And when you see 94 to 95%, that tells me as principal there is room for improvement because we haven't got 100% yet. So until we get 100%, then I'm going to continue to talk and try to motivate our teachers and our students to impact teaching and learning at one of the highest levels that we can ever have in the system from the 9th grade perspective. And that's my presentation for tonight. Any questions?
Yeah, I got one. Dr. Burns, what do you see that we can do as a whole system to make education better?
Well, if you look at education as a whole, they have this thing now called the IY generation. We look at technology. We look at social media. We look at how can we get these tools utilized in the classroom. You have some counties, they're going to giving everybody in the system an iPad with technology, doing things like that. I think that since we are a charter system, we're no longer in the same box. We can have the leverage and flexibility to think outside the box and incorporate some of these programs at the early stages of life that will help impact. I think the main problem that I see now is a reading deficiency. These kids come to us, they're 3 and 4 levels behind in their reading. So if I'm going to instill in a student the concept of achieving greatness, it has to be early on. I can't wait till he gets 14 or 15 and expect great results. He can have results, but it's not going to be at a level where he can achieve greatness once he leaves secondary level. I believe that we start at pre-K, kindergarten on up with technology, because you think about it, your grandson, you give him your cell phone, what can he do with it? He can change it, right? So I think that we have to have these programs, and Sky Readers is great, but I think that with technology, it needs to be more inclusive than what it is right now to get these kids to where they need to be with reading. And like I said one time before, reading is the backbone for everything else. If I can't read, I can't do math, I can't do science, I can't do social studies. But when I read for fluency and read for comprehension, then we're going to make some changes in our whole world. Not only here in Coffee County, these kids are going to branch off. They're going to leave Coffee County one day. Some of them are. And they're going to do great things, but it's predicated on how they were taught how to read. And I think that's very, very important. I don't know if I answered your question.
You went on there. Thank you.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Banks. Appreciate you. All right. On our consent agenda, tonight we have our minutes from our previous meeting. Board members, you've reviewed those minutes and they're ready to be approved on the consent agenda. The monthly financial report was presented at the work session. And on that monthly financial report, Mr. Drehush, can you call out our end of month fund balance?
Yes, sir. Our end of month fund balance was $7,820,245.52.
Thank you. Out-of-state travel, we have 2 trips included on the out-of-state travel. The 4-H group is going to be going to Jacksonville and going to the zoo. And also the 21st Century Boys and Girls Club group is going to be attending the zoo in Jacksonville. So we've got 2 different groups of boys and girls who will be going to the zoo this summer. RESA contract, we're asking the board to approve the RESA contract. This is an annual contract that we have to renew each year. And I will point out that it's the same level of funding that we've been apportioning to RESA, the same level since 1992. So they've been very consistent and I think very fiscally responsible. So That's the annual RESA contract. Painting bid, we've asked the board to accept bids for painting of West Green Elementary School and Ambrose Elementary School and Indian Creek Elementary School. We had 3 painting contractors who submitted bids, and the low bid was ICS Incorporated. They painted 2 schools here in Coffee County last year, and they did it within the time frame that we needed it done in the summertime when all the employees and students are gone. So that's the same company that painted Eastside and George Washington Carver Freshman Campus last summer. They were the low bidders for those 3 jobs. We are going to talk with a local painting contractor, and there is a possibility that that local painting contractor may be able to do the West Green job, and we will be doing that work. But at this time, those were the 3 low bids, and ICS was the low bidder. The next item on the agenda is bus purchase. We have the state contract price on buses. We're asking the board to approve the purchase of 5 Bluebird buses for $99,853 apiece. We will be installing air conditioning on each of those 5 buses at a cost of $10,000 per bus. So we're asking the board to approve the purchase of these 5 new buses. And that was the state contract price, which is the lowest price that we can get on the state contract. FCCLA National Conference, we heard from a representative from the FCCLA alumni group earlier this evening, and we're asking the board to approve the same amount that we approved last year to assist with funding for the FCCLA group to attend the national conference in Washington, D.C., $10,000 from the Board of Education to go towards travel-related costs for that group to go to Washington. And that is an academic group from Coffee High School that enrolled in the FCCLA classes at Coffee High School and Coffee Middle School and the 9th grade academy. And that's the consent agenda. Any questions? All right.
I got one real quick on the buses. That doesn't include, we've been trying to buy one every year with a different set of funding.
I'm sorry. We've got 1 bus coming in about in time now.
That's what, so
yeah,
that's separate.
That's a separate. Okay. Yeah.
And if the state approves the bonds for an additional bus later this year, then we would be purchasing an additional bus later in FY16. So, yes, sir, there's a possibility we could get another bus later on this year.
And those funds come out of East Plus, right?
East Plus, yes, sir. The painting contract is being done out of East Plus funds, and the buses are being purchased out of East Plus funds. And thank you for passing the sales tax so that we can buy new buses and we can paint schools so that our children attend school in nice facilities. I want to thank our taxpayers and everybody who voted for the East Plus. It's something we certainly need. All right. Madam Chair?
Number 9.
Did you want to approve the
Yeah, let's
vote to approve the consent agenda?
we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Number 9 is Habitudes. This is a character education program, Growing Leaders, that we presented at the work session, a proposal to purchase the Habitudes books for students in grades 6 through 12, in which we would also purchase teacher resource packs to instruct the students on the Habitudes program at our middle school, our 9th grade academy, the high school, and the career academy, and the alternative school. Create a common vocabulary in regards to character development, and soft skills, and just prepare our students for college, career, and life. The program was developed by Tim Elmore, who worked with a gentleman named John Maxwell, who wrote a number of leadership books, and Tim Elmore is respected for this program. We've actually got Tim Elmore lined up to be our keynote speaker for the back to school convocation meeting, in which he would kick off the school year with our teachers at the back to school meeting and talk about, as Dr. Banks mentioned, the generation Y. They talk about in the literature, the kids we're educating now who are so in tune with the technology, and he talks a lot about that in his work. And we just think it's something that would be good for our students here in Coffee County.
I'd like to speak to that. Anybody want to say anything about it before? Yeah.
Motion to approve.
Well,
We'll have time for discussion.
okay.
So I move we adopt the Habitudes curriculum.
All right. Any discussion? I have some discussion about it. It's not that I'm opposed to it, and the cost factor isn't extremely high. I think it's from what we were seeing in the work session, it's a great program. I just feel like, as what Dr. Banks was alluding to, along with our reading abilities in our school system, that you have to have a base to a strong learning base for your reading skills to continue. And I think it's the same thing with this type of learning, as far as learning good attitudes, habitudes, whatever you want to call it. I don't think you just throw it in there in the middle of middle school age kids that aren't prepared for, hasn't been discussed with them, haven't been doing things that are along this line. I think that you have to have a foundation in the elementary level first, as we were talking about earlier, just learning the very, very basic acts of kindness of saying please, thank you, excuse me, that they're not learning in those primary grades. And I think that's the basis of what all this is about. You've got to have some starting point to build from, and I really like the series. But I just feel like, if we don't have something to build from, we've done lots of programs that have to do with compassion, have to do with values. We've called them lots of different things throughout the years, and I haven't seen any difference in the kids from any of those programs. And I think it's because, just like we've been doing the same thing over and over, you throw it in at a middle school, high school level, and they have no foundation. They haven't learned it at home, or they haven't learned it at the school level early on, and we're getting the same kind of results just like you get in the reading. If you don't have them proficient in the grades early on, and not in reading and math, 70% isn't proficient in anything. You got to get them proficient, just like you have to have a base for getting along with each other. The basic skills that you want them to learn in this program. If there's a program that we can put in the elementary grades, as well, to build from, I think it's a great idea. But I hate to see us spend $32,000 on another program that we've done similar in the past that have not changed anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. We need something in elementary school. And I think we need to be looking for something that fits that program. This program fits middle school and high school. And I don't have a problem looking for something for elementary school. But for what we're looking at middle and high school, I think this fits good. Every administrator dealing with these kids has been very vocal now that they want this program. I don't have a problem looking for something to go along with elementary school. I'm looking at this simply as middle school and high school, and I think this is a good program for that.
They've liked the other programs as well.
Well, I'm just saying I don't have a problem looking for something to go along with it with elementary school programs. But the simple question tonight is, for middle school and high school, would this be a good fit? And they're all saying yes.
It would be a good fit if there was something that they had to build from.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's our job now, to go back and let's see if we can't find something to go hand in hand with it for the elementary school. This program obviously is not based on elementary school students. I don't have a problem looking for something to go along with this.
Mr. Johnson?
Thank you, Matt. Dr. Lees,
Yes, sir.
could we tweak the program, go K through 5?
I tell you, honestly, we had the PBIS program presented 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't sure about the commitment to move forward with that, and that program is targeting K through 5. So we brought a character education component for kindergarten through 5 2 weeks ago, and so that was our plan, was to pair and marry the PBIS at the K through 5 with the Habitudes at 6 through 12, and that was going to be a big piece of this character development in K through 12. So we're still considering the PBIS. I don't think it's off the table, but you know.
I wouldn't be opposed to, I don't know that it has to be a program that we buy or get from something. If every teacher, every principal at every school, I don't know, I'm not saying mandate, but if they made it part, that every teacher in an elementary level made it part of their curriculum, no matter what they're teaching, to constantly have children say, yes ma'am, no ma'am, thank you, excuse me, just all those basic things that they're not getting at home or haven't learned at home. It doesn't have to be a program. It's just like working with any child of your own. Every time you hand them something, thank you. What did they learn? Thank you. It just has to be consistent, and it has to be school-wide. It doesn't have to be a program.
Well, that was the idea with this. We didn't want our teachers to have to make up things
Right.
for the students to do. We felt like this was something we could put in the hands of every child, and we could put in the hands of every teacher, and then we could have uniformity across the 6 through 12 grade levels. And we thought it would be something that would be easy on our teachers, and something that they could implement with fidelity that would be good for kids. And at the end of the day, that's the question. Is it good for young people?
Yeah.
Is it good for kids?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. That's a great series.
Then that makes, that's what I think we should be about, is what's best for kids.
It is.
I want to finish my thought. May I? When a parent, a lady is pregnant, they tell you, if you read to that child while he's in the womb, that child, he or she will be well educated. So my point is, if you teach them early, by the time they get to the middle school, you won't have these problems. When they get in the middle school, they smell nothing else. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
If they ain't got it, they won't get it. And the report shows, Dr. Banks just read the report. 3 grade level behind. It don't take rocket scientists to figure out, if I do something for you, you're supposed to thank you.
Yes, sir.
The way I was raised, if you disrespect your elders, that was child abuse, backhand. You understand what I'm saying? So, I'm not saying corporal punishment, but I am saying if we're going to spend that kind of money, I kind of agree with Ms. World. Let's start low and work our way up. Not work our way up, then go down.
Well, how about this? We'll bring back next month something similar for our K through 5, a proposal for that.
I'm not saying we have to spend more, you don't have to spend any money.
No.
Just have them committed. Have each elementary school committed to, this is what we're going to do with our
Just a
kids.
fundamental commitment.
Fundamental,
to teaching
yes.
manners and
This is what we're
things
going to
like
do every day in our classroom. You don't,
As long as we do something for everybody.
just like you would do with your own child.
And you
Yeah.
know, to be honest with you, I think that we do have something to do that. And I think we need to
Yeah.
be more consistent with it and things like that. And part of my deal is, even the ones that are teaching that, when do they lose that? When they get this age, what we're talking about now, they
Right,
start
but if
getting
you
that.
start it
I
early
agree.
enough, by the time they get into the middle school where the fights really start happening, when they bump into each other, they're not going to have that they shouldn't have that reaction. But that's what you see in the hallways, instead of saying, excuse me. And that's what that's just got to come up through the years with them. You just can't hand them a book and say, okay, now everybody's going to play nice in the hallways. It ain't going to happen as much as you'd like it to. It's got to be progressive.
No, we start somewhere. I
Mhm.
don't have a problem.
I do too.
That's what we're proposing tonight, Mr. Johnson. Go ahead and start.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
when this was presented earlier at the work session, I asked some questions of the administrators that were here as to their thoughts on the efficiency and efficacy of the program. What's also tied into this recommendation is that we're sitting on a SACS required action that's over a year old on installing an advocacy program for our students that our stakeholders see no evidence of. So having a formal program does give evidence that we're doing something. Having a program that our administrators that are going to be impacted by it, and having them let us know, they're going to use this to address discipline, they're going to use this to address bullying, they're going to use this to address the very issues that we have sought solutions for. And $30,000 from SPLOST money that our taxpayers have overwhelmingly approved the last 4 times we've asked is 0.1% of the revenues that are generated off an average SPLOST for us of $30 million. This is going to do something that's easy to install for our teachers. It's not a big burden. It's going to be done during the advisement periods. I certainly would like to go back and, why we tabled the PBIS program, I don't know. If it ties in, if it dovetails into this program, so be it. I'm sitting here looking at a growth report on an SRI from a 4th grade classroom that I'll be glad to share with everyone on the achievement Lexile scores in reading, okay, from a program that we've had a grant for. It's been very, very effective at the elementary level.
The elementary level, that's what I'm talking about, elementary level.
So that's all I have to say about it.
That's where children get their basis for things, at the elementary level.
All I have to say about that, and there's a motion on the table.
And I'm addressing what you just brought up, and I'm going to say the same thing. As you said, at the elementary level, that is where you can get to fix those types of problems, and it's the same thing with this. I'm not opposed to this program. Mr. President, I'm not opposed to addressing what SACS has asked us to do. I am all about child advocacy, believe me. But I am just saying that you do it in a progression that actually will work, that will make sense. And I'm not saying that you can't go ahead and put it in, but I want a firm commitment, albeit a program or whatever, but something that these children can progressively learn to use these skills that are in those books. But you can't throw a math book, a middle school math book, at somebody that hasn't had addition and subtraction and expect them to do it any more than you can give them these types of behaviors to do when they've had no modeling or no one to show them how to do these kind of things. That is a normal thing that people do. That's all I'm saying. We've got to start these kind of things early. It makes sense, whether it's reading, math, or behavior. Yes, it's going to address a lot of behavior problems if you start it right, but do it right.
I think you've got that commitment that we want to do something elementary school.
I just don't think we have to spend a lot of more money on doing it. How are you going to, so the kids that are doing it now that have no basis for it, is it going to be effective for them?
Well, I hope it is. That's
I know, we all hope it is, but that's what I've said. They've had programs like this that they've paid $30,000, I don't know, in the past.
If I could speak to that issue, this is the very first character advocacy program. I've been on the board almost 7 years. This is the first time I've ever seen anything like this for our kids.
Well, I beg to differ with you because I have taught them in the classroom.
Okay, I'm talking about something adopted within the last few years.
I'm not talking about in the last few years. I'm talking, it has been done, Brian, that's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying it hasn't been done before. I'm saying there's a motion on the table, and we can talk all night, but there's a motion on the table.
I agree that we need to look at elementary school level, let's find something to go at. But my point with this is, even if we went and said, well, let's start with elementary school level, what are we going to do with the kids in middle school and high school level? Just forget about them until this group gets up there? I mean, I don't see why we can't put this in and then go back and try to find something for elementary school level and have the whole system covered.
It basically costs three air conditioners on buses, is what it costs. Same thing.
Price has nothing to do with it.
You just said it was
Mr. President, Money
Ms.
is
Pearl,
not.
what I'm saying is this, technically, there's a motion on the table. I have to go-
I'll handle the motion when we get through
I can
discussing
call-
it.
I
Thank
can
you,
call-
Mr. President.
I can call for
Yes,
order.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes,
We
sir.
discuss.
Thank you, Ms. Ward. Dr. Lees, how you feel about that program that they brought to our attention a couple of weeks ago? You ready to implement that now?
Well, we were planning, that was part of the thought was to do the PBIS at the K-5 level and do the aptitudes at 612 level, and that would address the SACS requirement that we have advocacy programs within our schools for our children. And we wouldn't be bringing this before you tonight, and we wouldn't have had, I don't believe, our high school principal, our ninth grade academy principal, our middle school principal, our career academy principal, and our alternative school principal here asking you to implement this, and our assistant superintendents here asking you to implement this if we didn't think it was going to be good for children. And that's what we're in the business of, is doing what's
your
best for kids.
timetable on K through 5 is what we talking about? A week, a month? You need some more time?
We can, if it's another product, we don't specifically have a product, but as Ms. Worrell said, it's not necessarily a product, it's a commitment, and yes, sir, we're committed to what's best for our children right now. And right now, I'm asking you to move forward with purchasing this material so that we can have it here to start the school year. It's already made.
All right.
Do you have anything else to say? I'm not opposed to spending the money. It's not about the money. It's not that I don't want to do the right thing for the students. I would like to do the right thing in progressive order. If there's a commitment, a true commitment that will have some outcome to it in the elementary level, fine. Go ahead and start. I think you should build from something instead of just throwing it in the middle of midstream. But I'm sure that there will be some that will benefit from this. And if we continue with the elementary schools building a base for this to happen, I think we will see some outcome of it. But it has not been about money, and it has not been about what's best for our kids. I would like to have the best thing for our kids, which is a normal progressive program, just like they have in a reading or a math program.
Well, I'll tell you,
But we'll put it in now.
Mill Creek High School, which is one of the largest high schools in the state of Georgia, they have Happy Tuesday. Every week, they have Happy Tuesday, and they're using this material, and there's some quality school systems that are using it. We wouldn't be recommending it if we didn't think it was good for children. And I appreciate your comments.
All right, got a motion to approve Habitudes. Need a motion to approve it, okay? Second? Everyone in approval, everybody agreed to, I can't even talk. Everybody in favor?
It's gonna be all right, Ms. Ward.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
It's gonna be all right.
Next on the agenda is the tentative FY16 budget. We brought the budget before the board, asking the board to approve the tentative budget. We'll advertise it beginning in the paper next Wednesday, and it'll run for 2 weeks, and we'll come back on May 28th at a called board meeting at noon to approve the final budget. So we're asking the board to approve the FY16 tentative budget.
So,
Second.
All those in favor?
Executive session. Do we have a need for executive session? All right.
I don't think so.
All right, we'll move forward with the personnel recommendations as presented. You've been presented with the personnel list at the work session, and we discussed it in the executive session. I ask the board to approve the personnel as presented.
so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
All right. Thank you.
got one.
Please.
You got one.
Yes, sir.
187.
That can be noted that that included approving the roll of new recommendations for
187.
number
Yes, sir.
187, and also approving a termination.
Yes, sir, that was the approval of removing 187 from the April 23rd, 2015 list and termination. Yes, sir.
Did it be a separate vote?
I was considering that to be part of the personnel that I presented to you in the executive session.
Just might need
Yeah.
some, a track record on one of those items. So
Yeah, all right.
a vote would be fine as long as you got that in minutes.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So that personnel is approved?
Yes.
All right. At this time, I have an announcement to make. At this time, I would like to come to the podium. At our last monthly meeting, we recognized our outgoing principal from Eastside Elementary School, Mr. Michael Davis. We appreciate you being here tonight. But at this time, I would like to announce the new principal at Eastside Elementary School, Ms. Christina Tucker. We're really excited. Ms. Tucker will be serving as the principal at Eastside Elementary School. We're all very excited. So congratulations, and we look forward to working with you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all.
You're gonna do a great job. Grandbaby and principal.
All right.
Not a bad 2 weeks.
Well, I have no further comments at this time. We do have the graduation coming up on, I guess I will mention that, May 23rd. Graduation will be coming up. So the end of the year is coming upon us, and we appreciate everybody being here tonight. Thank you.